What's up, crew? Welcome back to Libertalia Game Supply. We got a very brief locals report for this week. I showed up with most of a Fire King deck. I just didn't have a few cards, and I probably would have just played this anyway. The problem was it's Dogmatic of Fire King, and I don't have a Maximus, and so it does not work without the Maximus. There's some extra deck stuff that would be nice to have that I could have played without, but I really just needed a Maximus to be able to justify even trying it out, just to get a couple games in with it, feel out the deck a little bit, but I just couldn't find one. So I had brought Tellarknights with me also just in case, so that's what we ended up playing again. I know you guys are probably getting sick of seeing the same deck week after week after week. So for the next few weeks, Fire Kings, I have a Maximus in the mail. I was hoping it would be here before yesterday, but it was not. So then I was hoping I'd be able to pick one up really easy when I got there. I was not able to. So for Tellarknights, rather than going through the list card by card, because I'm sure if you've seen any of the other previous videos from locals, you've seen the deck list, it's mostly the same. So I'll just throw it up on the screen here right now. You can take a look at that, and I'll leave it up for a moment while I'm talking. I think the only meaningful change that I made that I really loved was adding in that Tellarknight Genesis. So that is searchable off of Lirin, and essentially you can build your board in such a way that it's like a searchable Heavy Storm, very easily searchable Heavy Storm, and you can do it very early on in a combo. So if they have back row, but they're sitting on it to try to blow you out at, Caduceus is the choke point of the deck, and so if people are sitting on that, whatever, negate, destroy, whatever, to kill that Caduceus so that you can't continue your play, you can get to that Tellarknight Genesis far before you ever have to make a Caduceus for the most part, and then you can clear out back row. Usually not a problem to kill 2, sometimes even 3 with that Genesis, so excellent card. I even cut one of the Lightning Storms out of the side deck, and I was thinking about cutting both. I just don't have something else that I think would fit in there fine, just because this is such a good card in this deck in particular because of how you can manipulate when it's most powerful. Otherwise, I think the list is essentially the same. The ratios of the Tellarknights have stayed about the same. On the Constellars, having the second copy of Sheraton, I don't think it made much of a difference. I had a couple games where I got the normal summon off Sheraton to go really hard on a combo, but outside of that, 2 or 1 is fine. The 2 was because I was planning on trying to play turn skip. I cannot get the turn skip. If they hit you with a negate even once, you usually don't have the gas in your hand to still go turn skip, so you just got to change course and go to your regular, 5, 6, 7 interrupts and pass. And so I think the drastic change that I'm going to make to the deck whenever I circle back around to play it again, maybe I'll hit up a couple in a weekend and play both decks or whatever, is I'm going to try to build it as a going second deck, and very preliminarily, this is what that would end up looking like. So ideally, win or lose the dice roll doesn't matter. That way I can 100% guarantee that I'm going second just about every time, I would say. I don't know that I've ever lost a dice roll and ended up going first since I've been back playing. So hopefully it continues that way, and then you can build towards that being the case. And then with that side deck, I would just side in the ratios that I would want for turn skip going first, because going second, the turn skip becomes essentially useless, or not useless, but way less powerful, way less worth doing. And then obviously we're main decking as much going second and board breaking hate as we can fit in there, and still maintain all of the regular engine cards that Tellarknights need to build their own board. So then the side out strategy, if you win and they know you're built to go second, they're probably not going to tell you to go second. So game 2, if you ended up winning and you're going to be going first, you would just side out the evenlies, side out the dark rulers, whatever, and you'd almost go to a midway between going first and going second build with still a decent amount of hand traps, but change your ratio so that you're not going to brick by drawing your one Isold target or your one Sheraton that you needed to copy off of the Caduceus to do the turn skip, or something along those lines. And so I haven't played it yet, but I think it'll work out okay. We'll see when we get back to it. As far as the record goes, went 1, 2, and 1 today. First round, I ended up getting a draw, and I'm frustrated in that, just myself mostly. Stupid mistake. So overall, that puts us at 7, 9, and 1. Realistically, should have been 8 and 9. Still not at 500, but Fire Kings are going to get me there, I believe it. Anyway, round 1, I played against Weather Painters, so that was odd because I don't know that I've ever played against them. Was only vaguely familiar with what they did, and so that was really frustrating. I won game 1 because he tried to make the Link monster under his own skill drain, and so then it doesn't act as a negate, and I was able to out that pretty easily and beat him. Game 2, he does not skill drain. He's going first, and he sets up the Link monster with 3 monsters that it points to, And it turns out the Link monster is a negate for an inherent summon, and the 3 monsters it points to, because it's pointing to them, end up being able to negate and destroy card activations. So 4 negates of whatever sort, or 3 negates of whatever sort, and then the 1 summon negation I couldn't get past it. I played a couple cards. Half of my hand was engine, the other half was stuff that was not really going to be particularly useful in that moment. So scooped it up right there. I probably should have sided in the Dark Rulers going into game 2, but I just didn't really know that that's what the Link monster did until it was on the board. And so that's just the way it goes sometimes. Now game 3, this is where I really fucked it up for myself. I was obviously choosing, so I'm going to be going first, and I didn't side in the Alsum with like a couple minutes left. So even if I was going to pass turn to him, I could have set up a board that was plenty big to not give up any life points, and then just Alsum burned on my turn to put me in the lead going into time. But I didn't side it in, and so I tried to just put like half a board on there past turn and try to get the turn back with like a minute left. I get the turn back with like 30 seconds left. I try to go straight to battle phase. And he goes, oh, no, wait, I have a few effects to activate. So I go, all right, what are the effects that you're trying to activate? And he goes, well, sits there, and then time ends. He's like, well, now what do we do? And I'm like, well, it's a draw. That's the end of that. So frustrating. I could have just very easily not made that mistake and had a 2-0 start, but I didn't. Round 2, played against Centurion for the first time. I believe I went 2-1 against him, ended up winning. I won the dice roll, so I got to go first on games 1 and game 3, which was a huge difference maker. Game 1, I went to a pretty decent combo. The 4-material Appaloosa with the Ptolemaeus setup to make the Pleiades on their turn to then summon the Alteran, get the pop, and I had the Tellarknights Skybridge, I believe, in the back row, so really nice board. I negated as much as I could, got the pop off of the, whatever back row, maybe it was a field spell, and then when the turn got passed back, I was able to put game on board pretty easy. Game 2, he's going first. He ends up going for the level 12 Centurion thing, which doesn't seem that hard to out. The problem was he Crimson Dragons and then tags into the Calamity on my turn, which just about ends the game right there, as I'm sure you know. So game 3 opened up absolutely ridiculous, ended on 3-material Appaloosa, F0, and the Ptolemaeus set up to make the Pleiades. Also with the Alteran Engrave, so 2 pops because I got the 2 Xyz monsters. Tore that board apart, stole some stuff, went great. I don't know. I don't know how the deck is meant to interact with something like that. I don't know if I just got super lucky, but it went well. Now rounds 3 and 4 went terrible. I don't know. I just completely fell apart. Round 3, I was playing against a pretty good player. He was probably just better than me to begin with. And he was playing Terralament, Horus, Destiny Hero, whatever that deck is that everybody's playing right now. And so I was probably losing anyway. I got to go first game 1 and set up my standard board, Appaloosa, Ptolemaeus. The problem was, on his turn, he activates his Gold Sark. I know what that means, so I go to make my Ptolemaeus effect to turn into a Pleiades, get the Alteran, and pop the Sark. Fine, Sark is popped. I'm feeling pretty good about myself. Talents to steal one. So now I have to make a decision because I have the Pleiades on board now and I can bounce something. So I'm trying to decide, like, what do I want to bounce in order to save it? I'm deciding, well, do I want to bounce my own continuous spell so I can activate it again as follow-up? Do I want to bounce the Pleiades so he doesn't have the bounce? Do I just burn the Pleiades bounce on the Appaloosa? In hindsight, Appaloosa bounce back to my extra deck would definitely have been the move. I ended up bouncing the Pleiades himself for some reason, and I think I don't know. I don't know what the thought process was there. It was stupid. So he stole the Appaloosa with 3 materials on it, or 2 materials on it maybe, and I lost from there because I'm a dumbass. Game 2, I bricked pretty hard. Normal summoned Deneb with, I had a Talents in hand, nothing else. I had Deneb, double Caduceus, a Talents, and I don't know, maybe like a Twinkle or something. I don't know. So I normal summon the Deneb, hoping that I'm going to get ashed so that I can use my Talents to draw into 2 and hopefully have something I can use because Caduceus can't summon itself off of a Caduceus on board. He does not. He lets the Deneb search go through. There's nothing I can search that can really change my board. Kind of like, oh, well, fuck, man. Like, if you can make 9,500 or 8K and remove the Deneb, you got it. And he's like, all right, yeah, I'm pretty sure I can. Sure enough, he did. That's that. 0-2 got blown out. And then game 4 was super frustrating. Also against a pretty decent player. He's playing Sword Soul of some sort. And game 1, I'm going first. He had double imperm. So the first imperm he hit on, I don't know, maybe it was a Lyran. I'm like, all right, that sucks, but it's fine. I can just make the Caduceus and search whatever spell I was going to search anyway. He had a second imperm, so I get impermed again. That stops the turn. and he pretty much goes nuts there because even if you don't open pretty good, you need the Caduceus effect to go through to really get your board going or get any sort of back row setup or anything like that. And he just stopped me right there. I didn't have enough in the hand, and so he ended up attacking over me over the next turn or two, and that was that. Game 2, I'm choosing to go first, and I brick super hard. I open not really any playable monsters, I don't think, but I did open Ash, Nibiru, Imperm. So I'm thinking, all right, that's fine. I'll pass. I'll go on the draw. I got 3 interrupts. I should survive the turn. So he activates Desires. I Ash it, thinking that's probably good. You know, steal 10 cards out of the deck for nothing. You get no draw, so it's a minus 11 or whatever the math ends up being right there. Excellent Ash. He has the talents. He looks at my hand, gets rid of my Imperm, and he knows that I got the Nibiru, so he just plays around the Nibiru for the rest of the game. It takes like 3 or 4 turns, but he puts the Sword Soul level 8 guy that negates stuff on the board. And so there's no normal summon that I can draw into right now that gets me past that. I would need a Lyran plus a normal summon so I can try to burn that effect negation with the normal summon and then use the Lyran to search and get into it. And I just didn't get the draw, and so I lost like 3 turns later or something. So that just sucked. It sucked having that be the case. Like something like that, I always like in hindsight, because I was talking to him about it after the game. He's like, yeah, you know, if you just didn't Ash that, you would have ruined me, because there was nothing. I mean, depending on what he drew, I could have Nibiru'd and Impermed him, and it would have been more than good, and so it's the way it goes. But anyway, this week I expect the rest of my Fire King stuff to be here, so we'll be playing Fire Kings next weekend, and I'll let you know how week number 1 of that goes. I'll probably throw some combo videos together up for that deck in the next couple of days. That's more for me, just to kind of get it all ingrained in my head before I go out and play it. And if anything else interesting comes to mind, I'll make a video on that too. Happy deck building. I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good one. Goodbye.